The comfort zone doesn't feel like a problem. It feels safe, familiar, and reasonable. That's why most people never question it. They settle into routines, convince themselves they're stable, and call it a good life, without realizing they've stopped growing. This video isn't about motivation or extreme hustle. It's about a quiet danger most people ignore. The comfort zone doesn't ruin your life overnight. It slowly reduces your ambition, weakens your skills, and steals your time without making any noise. If you've ever felt stuck even though nothing is wrong, this video is for you. Because the comfort zone isn't protecting you, it's silently killing your potential. The comfort zone feels safe. That's the trap. The comfort zone doesn't feel dangerous. That's why it works. It feels warm, predictable, and familiar. You know what tomorrow will look like. You know what effort is required. You know the risks are low. And your brain loves that. From a survival perspective, comfort feels like intelligence. From a growth perspective, it's a slow death. The problem is not comfort itself. The problem is staying comfortable while time keeps moving. Life doesn't pause because you're relaxed. Markets change. Skills expire. Competition increases. While you're repeating the same routine, the world upgrades silently. One day you wake up and realize you didn't fall behind suddenly. You drifted there gradually. The comfort zone doesn't attack you aggressively. It negotiates with you. It says, you can do it tomorrow. This is good enough for now. At least you're not failing. These thoughts sound reasonable. They don't trigger panic. They trigger delay. And delay is the real killer. What makes the comfort zone deadly is that it removes urgency. You're not in pain, so you don't move. You're not desperate, so you don't change. But growth doesn't respond to comfort, it responds to pressure. And the longer you stay comfortable, the harder it becomes to tolerate discomfort later. That's how the trap locks itself. Why comfort slowly kills ambition. Ambition doesn't disappear overnight. It fades. Comfort dulls it slowly, like background noise you stop noticing. When your basic needs are met and nothing is urgently wrong, the mind stops asking hard questions. You stop thinking about what you could become and start settling into what you already are. Comfort creates emotional sedation. There's no immediate reason to push harder, learn faster, or risk failure. The hunger that once drove you gets replaced by routine. You tell yourself you're being practical, but what you're really doing is trading long-term potential for short-term ease. Ambition needs friction. Comfort removes it. Over time, goals start shrinking. You stop aiming high and start aiming safe. Dreams get rewritten into manageable versions that fit inside your current life. Not because you're incapable, but because discomfort feels unnecessary. That's how people with real potential end up living lives far smaller than they imagined. The most dangerous part? You still feel busy. You're doing things. You're occupied. But busyness without stretch is just disguised stagnation. Comfort doesn't make you lazy, it makes you content with less. And that's far more destructive. The biology behind why we choose comfort. Your brain is not designed for growth. It's designed for survival. Comfort signals safety, and safety signals success, at least to your nervous system. When routines are predictable and risks are low, your brain reduces stress hormones and rewards you with calm. From an evolutionary standpoint, that makes perfect sense. Discomfort, on the other hand, triggers uncertainty. Learning something new, taking risks, or stepping into unfamiliar territory increases cognitive load. The brain reads that as danger. That's why resistance shows up the moment you try to change. It's not laziness, it's biology trying to conserve energy and avoid threat. The problem is that modern life has removed most survival pressures. You don't have to hunt, migrate, or fight for resources daily. So the brain's comfort-seeking instincts now work against progress. What once kept humans alive now keeps them stuck. Understanding this matters because it removes guilt. You're not broken for avoiding discomfort. You're human. But once you recognize that your instincts are outdated for modern goals, you gain a choice. You can stop obeying feelings that were never designed to help you build a meaningful future. How the comfort zone freezes skill growth. Skills grow only under stress. Not extreme chaos, but consistent challenge. When you stay in your comfort zone, your skill set plateaus because there's no reason for your brain to adapt. You repeat what you already know, and repetition without difficulty stops producing improvement. This is why many people work for years and still remain average at what they do. Time alone doesn't create mastery. Pressure does. When tasks stop stretching your ability, learning shuts down. You become efficient, but not better. And efficiency without growth eventually becomes irrelevance. The market doesn't reward how long you've been doing something. It rewards how valuable your skills are right now. Comfort makes you feel secure while your relevance quietly declines. By the time you feel the pain, catching up requires far more effort than staying uncomfortable would have. Skill decay doesn't announce itself. It happens silently. The comfort zone is where skills go to sleep, and if they sleep long enough, they expire. Why comfort feels like stability but isn't. Comfort often disguises itself as stability. You have predictable income, familiar routines, and a sense of control. Nothing feels urgent, so everything feels fine. But stability based on sameness is fragile. It only works as long as the environment doesn't change, and the environment always changes. Real stability comes from adaptability, not routine. When your comfort zone is built on doing the same things the same way, you're stable only on the surface. Underneath, you're exposed. One disruption, technology shifts, market changes, policy updates, and that comfort collapses quickly. This is why people are shocked when their safe path stops working. They did everything right, followed the rules, stayed consistent, and still got stuck. Comfort gave them predictability, not resilience. And predictability without flexibility is a liability. Comfort makes you feel prepared because nothing is challenging you. But preparedness is tested only under pressure. If pressure never shows up in your life by design, it will show up unexpectedly, and that's when comfort reveals itself as weakness. Comfort zone and the illusion of time. The comfort zone distorts your sense of time. When life feels manageable, you assume you have plenty of it. There's no urgency, no countdown, no visible deadline. Days blend into each other, and progress feels optional. That's the illusion. Time feels abundant when growth is postponed. But time is the one variable you can't negotiate with. It moves forward regardless of how comfortable you feel. While you're delaying discomfort, years are passing. And unlike money or skills, lost time can't be recovered. The comfort zone doesn't steal your energy, it steals your years. This is why people suddenly panic at certain ages. Not because something went wrong recently, but because nothing changed for a long time. Comfort made stagnation feel harmless until the accumulated cost became visible. By then, the window for easy change has narrowed. Urgency isn't created by fear, it's created by clarity. Once you see how comfort manipulates your perception of time, you stop asking, why rush, and start asking, why wait? The comfort zone survives on delay. Awareness breaks its power. How comfort turns potential into regret. Regret is rarely about things you tried and failed at. It's about things you never tried at all. The comfort zone is the factory where that regret is manufactured. Not through dramatic mistakes, but through quiet inaction. You had the ability. You had the opportunity. You just waited too long. Comfort convinces you that potential is permanent, that you can always use it later. But potential has an expiration date. If it's not exercised, it weakens. Muscles atrophy. Skills fade. Confidence erodes. What once felt easy starts feeling intimidating, not because you got worse, but because you stayed still. This is how people end up haunted by, what if? What if I had started earlier? What if I had taken that risk? What if I had pushed myself when it was uncomfortable but easier than it is now? Comfort protects you from short-term discomfort while setting you up for long-term regret. The worst part is that regret shows up when comfort is no longer enjoyable. When routine feels empty, when safety feels boring, when it's too late to rewind easily. That's when potential turns into a reminder instead of a resource. Why fear thrives inside the comfort zone. Most people think fear lives outside the comfort zone. That's not true. Fear actually grows inside it. When you avoid challenges, uncertainty doesn't disappear, it accumulates. The longer you stay comfortable, the scarier the outside world starts to feel. Every time you delay discomfort, your tolerance for it decreases. Small risks begin to feel big. Simple changes feel overwhelming. The unknown turns into something your mind exaggerates because you've stopped testing your limits. Comfort doesn't remove fear, it feeds it quietly. This is why stepping out later feels harder than stepping out earlier. Fear compounds in isolation. Without exposure, your confidence has no evidence to stand on. You start doubting yourself not because you're incapable, but because you've given fear too much uninterrupted time to grow. Ironically, discomfort reduces fear. Action shrinks uncertainty. But comfort teaches avoidance, and avoidance trains fear. That's why the comfort zone feels safe in the short term and terrifying in the long term. It flips the relationship between fear and reality. Discomfort is the entry fee for growth. Every meaningful upgrade in life charges the same price: discomfort. There is no exception. New skills feel awkward. New paths feel uncertain. New identities feel unstable at first. Discomfort isn't a sign that something is wrong, it's proof that something is changing. The comfort zone trains you to avoid this feeling, so when discomfort shows up, you misinterpret it as danger. In reality, it's feedback. Growth always starts with friction because your current self is being challenged to become something more capable. Without that tension, transformation doesn't happen. People who grow consistently aren't fearless. They've just learned not to treat discomfort as an emergency. They expect it. They budget for it mentally. They understand that feeling uncomfortable today is often the cost of feeling confident tomorrow. Once you accept discomfort as a requirement instead of a problem, its power over you drops. You stop asking, "How do I avoid this?" and start asking, "How do I use this?" That shift changes everything. Escaping the comfort zone before it costs you. Escaping the comfort zone doesn't require a dramatic life overhaul. It starts with small, deliberate discomfort, choices that stretch you just enough to force adaptation. The goal isn't chaos. The goal is controlled pressure. Growth happens when challenge becomes routine, not when comfort does. The mistake most people make is waiting for motivation. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll stay comfortable forever. Readiness is built by doing things before you feel confident, not after. Comfort lies. Action teaches. You don't need to abandon safety completely, but you do need to stop worshiping it. Comfort should be a recovery space, not a permanent residence. When comfort becomes your default, progress becomes optional, and optional progress eventually disappears. The comfort zone won't kill you loudly. It will make life smaller, quieter, and less demanding until one day you realize you survived, but never fully lived. The choice is simple: short-term discomfort or long-term regret. One builds you, the other slowly erases you. The comfort zone will never warn you before it costs you something important. It won't tell you when your skills are expiring, when your ambition is shrinking, or when time is slipping away. It will keep you comfortable right up until the moment you realize you waited too long. Growth doesn't come from feeling ready. It comes from choosing discomfort before life forces it on you. You don't need to burn your life down, but you do need to stop living on autopilot. Comfort should help you recover, not keep you stuck. If this video made you uncomfortable, that's a good sign. It means you're paying attention. And paying attention is the first step out of the comfort zone.